Namaste. In our continued quest to enjoy the bliss of Sri Krishna's names as it appears in Srimad Bhagavad Geetha, we are in another episode where we are going to look at a Tirunama called Amirtavikrama. Let's discuss more about Amirtavikrama, but before that, let's look at a management, statement. What gets measured gets done. This is what normally people in management use. So measurement is important. Now when we say measurement, the most common measurement, if anything, is by feet. Here we are going to talk about the divine feet of Sriman Narayana. So here we are going to see how Sri Krishna is now the Amirtavikrama and also see the name, what Amirtavikrama means, and then how Arjuna, through Arjuna, Sri Krishna is explaining a lot of things to us. Let us look at the sloka, 11th chapter, 40th sloka for this episode.
Namostu te sarvata eva sarva anantavirya mitavikramastvam sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha.
In Mahabharata, we have seen Krishna take a lot of steps to his divine feet to help the Pandavas. He went as the Pandava Duta, walking across to the court of Duryodhana and representing the Pandavas to broker peace. In Sri Rama Avatara, we have seen Sri Rama walk all the way from Ayodhya through Dandakaranya to all the way to Sri Lanka just to get Mata Sita. And in the process, his divine feet measured whole of Bharatadesha. So that way, you can see the feet, the measures across everything, either in Sri Krishna Avatara or Sri Rama Avatara. But moment we talk of measurement, moment we talk of divine feet, the first thing that comes to our mind is always Vamana Avatara, where as a small Vamana, Sriman Narayana comes to the court of Mahabali, asks for 3 measures of land by his feet. And then he grows so much that he has no place to put the third measure, because in the first 2 measures he finished measuring the entire universe. And then to bless Mahabali, to ensure that Mahabali's stature of giving whatever is asked is there, he gives a 3rd feet measure on Mahabali's head. So the feet and the measure is there always. But as Vamana, and as he grows as Trivikrama, Vikrama means feet or a measure of strides that he takes. So 3 Vikrama, 3 steps he takes, that's why Vamana becomes Trivikrama. So can we measure that? It's impossible to measure exactly the scale with which Sriman Narayana measured this entire universe as Trivikrama. So coming back to the Tirunama that Arjuna addresses Sri Krishna here as Amita Vikrama is, Vikrama is the measure in which he measures the entire universe. Amita is countless. You just can't measure this. So what gets measured gets done, but here we are trying to measure the immeasurable. And Arjuna here is totally in love and bhakti beyond bewilderment, because we know we are in the 11th chapter, Vishwarupa chapter, there are varied emotions that Arjuna goes through, from confusion to bewilderment to now slowly towards bliss, because he is seeing the Supreme right there. In the 10th chapter, Sri Krishna has told Arjuna that he is there in everything. He is omnipresent and omnipotent everything. He explains very clearly in the 10th chapter. In the 11th chapter, Arjuna requests Krishna to show that, and he shows the Vishwarupa. Then we can see that Sahasra Sirusha Purusha that he says. So he says so many shoulders, so many eyes, so many divine feet of Sri Krishna, that what he used to see as 4 arms Krishna with 2 feet now is this in immeasurable things. So though Veda says Sahasra, which is 1000, but it is a reference to saying countless. So that is how the Arjuna is now looking at Sri Krishna with faith, love and bhakti, that he says, hey Krishna, you are sarva. Here that is where he says with full realization. The 11th chapter is about realization of Arjuna about Sri Krishna, that he is sarva, he is omnipresent, he is omnipotent. Oh, you are there everywhere, you are there in immeasurable time. And that's why he again uses saying Amita Vikrama, that you are an immeasurable person with innumerable steps that you take. And even in Mahabharata, just the Kurukshetra war, Sri Krishna takes a lot of immeasurable steps to protect Arjuna and the Pandavas. He first and foremost, he comes as a charioteer. Bhagavan is coming as a charioteer itself is an immeasurable step. And then he takes care of the horses, he takes care of the forces, he protects Arjuna at very key situations. We know all those things in the Itihasa that we have seen in Mahabharata, particularly the Kurukshetra war. So that is the greatness of Sri Krishna, which Arjuna now realizes, and he says, you are omnipresent and you are omnipotent. You are present in everything, whether the smallest ant or a biggest animal in terms of size, if you talk about an elephant, or the Devas, or in everything, plants, trees, everything. And even in 10th chapter, Krishna himself says, among the warriors, I am you, Arjuna. So even in Arjuna, Sri Krishna is there. So the realization of everything is Sri Krishna, and in everyone else resides Sri Krishna, is the most important realization Sri Krishna expects from us. And that is what now Arjuna is explaining by saying sarva, and and with love and bhakti, because his whole emotion is transforming from one of bewilderment to a more realized soul at this point in time. So that is exactly that Arjuna is going through, and through Arjuna, Sri Krishna is teaching all of us that Sri Krishna is Amirtavikrama. There are references which is commonly addressed, immediately we know it relates to only one particular person. When in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we see a lot of references saying Bhagavan Uvacha. We know it is only Krishna is saying, Bhagavan Uvacha, he is saying this, Krishna is saying this. When we say Janmashtami, we know it is Krishna Janmashtami, because we don't have to specifically say Krishna Janmashtami, though we use it, but the moment I say Janmashtami, all of us get Krishna in our mind. When I say Naama, what happens? We get Rama in our minds, because that is very important. And this is the most important factor that here we are saying, because after Arjuna realizes Sri Krishna is everything, because we are in the 11th chapter, the Vishwarupa chapter, he has seen Krishna in this full magnificent form, and he says, you are sarva vyapi. When he says sarva, he realizes that Sri Krishna is everything and Sri Krishna is inside everything. The best part of realization here is also the fact that Sri Krishna can do everything in his sankalpa, because there is always a fact, right? So what is the fastest? The speed of light, speed of sound, science talks of a lot of things, but our rishis have mentioned as manovegam, something that your mind can travel much faster than any of this. I personally love 3 places. I love to be in Srirangam, I like to live in Singapore, and Sydney has a fascination. I can sit in one place and say, right now I want to be in Srirangam looking at Sri Ranganatha. Yes, by mind I can go there. I want to just spend some time in Sydney holidaying, I can go by mind. And I want to work in Singapore, I just visualize that I'm in Singapore, I can do it instantly. But for me to physically do this, it takes a lot of time. I have to make a travel plan, I have to travel, go there and all that, it takes its own time. But here, Sri Krishna can do that thing in Sankalpa. He can create something in no time, he can be in some place in no time. That makes it Amirtavikrama, that he is boundless, and he is boundless valour, and he can do everything by Sankalpa. We can only think of doing things, we can do visualization, but he can actually do realization, he can do it in real. So this fact comes very, very important as a realization for Arjuna, and he says sarva, you are sarva vyapi, you are there in everything, and he is celebrating the valor of Sri Krishna as saying Amirtavikrama, and that is what we need to worship, learning from this episode that Sri Krishna is Amirtavikrama, and let us be blessed by Sri Krishna. Namaste.
Madhava Achyuta Krishna Hare Rishikesha Kesava Govinda Vasudeva Bhagavan Janardana